Yikes, that was close, guys. What? Damn it! This is dangerous. Nope. Come on, you can do this! I don't have this. This is a lot of wrist strength that I was not anticipating. Hey guys, it's Diana and it's also the Sailor Moon-a-thon. First of all, welcome back to my channel, and secondly, I know you're probably thinking, Diana, what is the Sailor Moon-a-thon? I'm gonna tell you what the Sailor Moon-a-thon is. It's freaking awesome is what it is. The Sailor Moon-a-thon is a Sailor Moon based readathon, as you probably could have guessed from its name. It was created by B, Bookish Pisces. I will link all of her info down below, and it is basically a team based readathon. So you get to pick your favorite Sailor Scout. Mine is Sailor Mercury. She's my homegirl. I feel like she's most like me out of all of the Sailor Scouts. Or maybe I'm most like her, who knows? And then you're put onto a team with other people who have also chosen that Sailor Scout, and collectively you read books together. It's really cool, right? The team leader for Sailor Mercury is Princess, and I will link all her info down below as well. And I'll link all the info about the readathon in general, so in case you want to start it, you can go ahead and do that. The readathon runs from May 1st to May 20th, so basically that is 20 days of solid reading. There are 11 actual prompts based on the Sailor Scouts, and then there's a readathon book, and there's also a team book. Do I think I'm gonna get through 13 books on 20 days? Probably not, but then again, I didn't think I would get through my owls either in a month, so who knows? I'm just kind of being wrong about everything these days. The first prompt is Sailor Moon, reread one of your favorite books. For this one, I'm going with Alan Raskin's The Westing Game. I've actually talked about this book multiple times on my channel. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's one of the books that got me into reading. It's a murder mystery. I love murder mysteries. Basically, this guy's like, y'all, come to my will reading, and if you can find my murderer, you can have my money. And so like 16 people show up and they try and solve the mystery to win his money. It's like middle grade Clue, which is freaking awesome. And it's been a couple years since I read it, so I figured why not? The second prompt is Sailor Mercury, read a book that challenges you. For this one, my boyfriend will be happy to know that I am reading George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones. And I have read Game of Thrones before, the first book in the series, a bunch of years ago, back when the show first started coming out, because my best friend wanted to read it. She got carried away by it, and I figured I would read it with her. She flew through it and started keeping all these journals and making family trees, and I took a month and a half to finish. I'm not sure if it just wasn't working for me or if I was focused on other things, but I'm gonna go back and reread it because she really loves it, and he really loves it, and everyone else I know really loves it, so maybe I'm the one that's wrong. And it's like an 800-page book with like 50,004 character points of view, so it should be a real fun time. Hopefully this time I will not take a month and a half to read it though. I'm not gonna explain the plot of Game of Thrones because pretty much everyone knows the plot of Game of Thrones. It's like a high fantasy, also political thriller with magic and dragons and winter zombies. The third prompt is Sailor Venus, read a book with a character that has special abilities. For this one, I'm going with Franny Billingsley's The Folk Keeper. I love fairy books, and this is about a girl named Corinna, who is what is known as a folk keeper. She basically keeps the folk that live underground at bay. I'm assuming by folk, they mean fairy creatures. I've actually read another book by Franny Billingsley. It was called Chime. It's one of my favorites. I loved it, and it also had like a similar fairy theme to it. And so Corinna comes on board as the folk keeper for this manor, and when she does so, her powers sort of emerge, which causes life to get very interesting for her. This is a middle grade book. I've been trying to read more middle grade books because they warm my heart and they make me happy, and I could just use an infusion of happiness and heart in my life. I think we all could, really. So I'm really excited to read this one. The next category is Tuxedo Mask, read a romance novel. I actually do not read a whole lot of romance, but one that has come highly recommended to me by multiple people is Thea DeSalle's King of Bourbon Street. I actually don't know a whole lot about it. I've heard that it includes a pretty good depiction of a BDSM relationship, and I've also heard that it has a plus-size female love interest, which is almost never seen in any kind of romance. So I'm very excited for those aspects specifically. I'm pretty sure it takes place in New Orleans and there's a hotel mogul. And then this girl sort of like catapults into his life right after he's gone through an amicable divorce and they start a relationship. It's supposed to be super steamy with some really good smut, and a lot of people have given it 5 stars, so why not? The next prompt is Chibi USA, read a novella. For this one, I am reading Holly Black's The Lost Sisters. The Folk of the Air series is one of my favorite series currently in publication, and I love everything about it. I really love The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King was woof, and I cannot wait for The Queen of Nothing. How about that release date being moved up 2 months? Hell yeah! And from what I understand, The Lost Sisters is actually supposed to give you a little bit more of Taryn's motivation. I still think she's a bitch. I don't think this book is gonna make me like her anymore, but maybe I'll start to understand her, because right now she makes absolutely no sense. I just want to punch her in the face like 9 times out of 10. So basically, I just want any excuse to jump back into the world of the Folk of the Air. I just love it. So yeah, The next prompt is Sailor Mars, read a book that includes the element of fire in any way. For this one, I'm going with Natasha Nagan's Girls of Paper and Fire. This is a hugely hyped book that I have not read yet. It is a ladies love and ladies story, and I am always here for that. There are so few of them, and I get genuinely gleeful every time one is published. It is a fantasy novel about a forbidden romance between two concubines. I feel like I'm oversimplifying a lot of these plots, but I also don't want to spend like forever talking about them because there are so many prompts to get through. But I'm very excited about this because everyone I know that has read it has actually really loved it, and I think I'm probably gonna love it too. And this cover is pretty fucking beautiful, right? Like, it's gorgeous. Look at these colors. Basically, it is a fantasy story about a girl who is selected as a concubine for the king. When she gets to the palace, she falls in love with another concubine. It's very much forbidden. It can very much threaten his kinglyhood, whatever that is. And I'm very excited to read it. I think it's going to be amazing. The next prompt is Sailor Jupiter, read a book that is 400 pages or more. For this one, I'm going with Stephanie Garber's Caraval. It's actually like 401 pages, so go me. This is a book, I think, about a circus or a carnival, some sort of performance along those lines, and the two sisters who desperately want to watch it. Scarlet is about to be married off, and so before that happens, her sister drags her to Caraval to see the performance, because they've both been wanting to see it since forever. However, when they get there, Scarlet's sister Tella is kidnapped and made part of the performance/game. And Scarlet is given a certain amount of time to find her. I love circus books. I love circus as a setting, as an element. Any kind of circus-related carnival thing, I am totally here for. The Night Circus was one of my favorite books, and this has been comped to the Night Circus multiple times, so I am very excited to see if that holds up. The next category is Sailor Saturn, read a standalone. And for this one, I'm going with Anna Marie McLemore's When the Moon Was Ours. This is also a story about forbidden love, but it's got magical realist tendencies. Basically, it is about two best friends who are in love, Miel and Sam, and Miel can grow flowers out of her wrists, and for some reason, a bunch of witches want these flowers because they think it can grant them true love. I'm an enormous fan of magical realism as genre, and this sounds actually beautiful, like lyrically beautiful. So naturally, I cannot wait to dive into it. The next category is Sailor Uranus, read a book with a gorgeous cover. For this one, I'm going with April Genevieve Tucholk's Wing Poppy Midnight. I don't actually know that I said her name right, but I couldn't find an interview where she says her name, so hopefully I didn't butcher it too badly, but if I did, please correct me. I love the typography on this cover, and I love the colors against the dark black background. I feel like it's underrated. And also I'm trying to get through my backlist, and this has been on it for a very long time. This is one of those quiet thrillers about an event that happens in the summer and the people who witness it and the people who are lying about it. And it's all about unraveling what really happened. I don't often read books like this, and I can't even remember the last time I did, so I put it on my TBR because I thought it would just be interesting. The next prompt is Sailor Neptune, read a contemporary novel. For this one, I'm going with Mary H.K. Chase, Emergency Contact. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, and the cover is gorgeous, and it's basically about two people who meet very awkwardly, yet they exchange numbers and they keep in contact over the years. And because of this, they develop a pretty intense connection. I love me a text-based relationship, and I've enjoyed the last couple contemporary novels that I've read, so I'm looking forward to reading this. The next prompt is Sailor Pluto, read a dystopian novel. For this one, I'm going with Cindy Pon's Ruse. This is the sequel to Want, which I read last month for the Owls Readathon, and I fucking loved Want. I thought it was excellent. I won't say too much about this since it is a sequel and I don't want to spoil anything, but basically it takes place in a dystopian New Beijing where the rich and the poor are constantly kind of at war with each other. The rich get these fancy suits and masks that protect them from pollution and germs and bacteria and diseases, while the poor are pretty much left to die. This guy Jason and his group of ragtag rebels look to infiltrate the rich people so they can destroy the system from the inside. And it's just a lot of fun while being very on point and relevant to the time. And I just kept rapidly turning the pages because I couldn't wait to find out what happens. So I'm looking forward to continuing the journey. So those are all the official categories. There is a team book. It is Marie Lou's Warcross, but I've already read that, so I get the chance to read any other team's book. So I've picked Danielle Clayton's The Bells. I've heard so many good things about this book. It's about a girl named Camilla who is a belle, which means she has magical powers that allow her to give other people beauty. It takes place in Orleans, and people there are born kind of super unattractive. They have like gray skin, and I think they have red eyes, so belles are very sought after to change that. Camilla wants to be like the head belle who works for the queen, and when she gets to the palace, she finds out that things with the belles might not be what she thinks they are. And also the queen asks her for a pretty dangerous favor, and she's got to decide if it's worth risking everything for. Again, a lot of buzz around this book, a lot of good things I've heard, so I can't wait to read it. And then the last book I have to read is the official readathon book, Beds Are for Flowers by R.K. Gold. This This is a middle grade novel and I don't know too much about it other than it includes themes of nature and death. Apparently it supports a diverse cast, which I am always looking for in a book. And this is also a middle grade fantasy, and fantasy is one of my favorite genres, so it's like a combination of all these things that I like. I picked up the Kindle copy and I'm excited to get around to it. And that's basically my TBR for the readathon. I don't think I'll get through all 13 books, but you know, maybe I will. Here's the hoping! There are so many cool readathons this month. There's the Asian readathon that's happening, and then there's a Pokemon readathon that's happening, and I'm like, I just want to do them all, but I can't. There's not enough time. There's not enough me's. But what about you? Are you participating in any readathons this month? Are you doing this one? If so, what team are you on, and what are you most excited to read? And if you're not doing any readathons, then what have you been reading? What have you been up to? Tell me about your life. Let me know in the comments and we will talk. That's it for me, guys. I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day and be excellent to each other. Bye! Yes, if you like my videos, you should consider giving them a thumbs up and subscribing and maybe hitting that button that lets you know when I post a new video. I don't know what it's called, but some people do that, right? I would love you forever. Thank you.